back to another video of a day in Skiathos. This was in April 2026 and we started the day off with breakfast at Las Ramblers, one of our new favourite places to go for breakfast. We only discovered it this year, but the food is always amazing. I got this halloumi, avocado, egg concoction. Matt got like a yogurt bowl. Both were absolutely beautiful as always. And then we went and checked into our new accommodation for a couple of nights. We decided to treat ourselves to a couple of nights stay at the Utopia Eco Retreat. This is a set of villas which are located near the big supermarket right near the airport, and they're actually one of the most expensive places to stay on the island that we've come across. However, for some reason in April, probably because it's just the beginning of the season and it's usually quite quiet, we got this at a bargain price. We paid just over £130 and that was for 2 nights in this villa. This would usually cost you over £1,000 for just the 2 nights, so it was definitely a bargain. The villa we stayed in was called Villa Celestia and this slept up to 6 guests. It has a main bedroom downstairs with a double bed, another room upstairs with a double bed and then a sofa bed as well. The upstairs room had its own ensuite bathroom with shower, toilet and sink. And then you also have the main shower room downstairs with toilet and sink as well. The power in these showers was incredible as well. It was amazing for washing my hair. The villas also have a fully equipped kitchen, TV, free Wi-Fi, a nice comfortable and spacious living area, and the full interior is really light and airy as well as there's lots of big windows surrounding the villa. I loved that there was plenty of storage in the bedroom too, but the highlight of this villa was definitely the outside space. We had our very own private pool, there was sunbeds, really comfortable beanbag chairs, parasols, although only one of them would go up for us. There was a big dining table outside as well with really comfortable chairs on the patio, and this was a proper sun trap. We felt like we could lie out here all day in the sun. This is the communal area between the 4 villas, so as you can see into each villa slightly. I think ours was the most private of the 4 though. I did notice as well from upstairs in our villa we could overlook the next door's pool. Obviously we didn't do that, we didn't even use the upstairs, but I did go up there to film the video to show you guys around. This is our view from the dining table outside on our patio. That building there's not included with the villas, that's private, and there's actually a road running up the side here. So where we were in our outdoor area wasn't private completely, and unfortunately we found it quite noisy, not from the other guests in the villas but from the cleaning staff and from the neighbours. We did have a random visit from these lovely little dogs though, which I believe came from the house next door to the villas, so that was a nice surprise for me because I love animals, but obviously if you were scared of dogs or allergic, this isn't really ideal. We loved the fact that we had our own kitchen area though, and we were right by the supermarket. We used this as an excuse to not eat out that night and to go to the supermarket, buy some treats, buy some picky bits and have food in. We picked up some crackers, some parma ham, some cheese, some bread, butter, biscuits, ice cream, chocolate cake and some beers, and we spent the night just picking at all of this on the sofa, and it felt really nice just to relax, pick at this as we wanted to, enjoy it as we went. I read some of my book, we didn't even have to get dressed up to do it. So we decided to have a bit of a chilled night and go for an explore around the island. So we hopped in our car and headed up to Mandraki beach to watch the sunset, and we were surprised to see when we got there that we were the only people on the beach. We had the whole place to ourselves and the sunset was absolutely stunning. If you're ever in Skiathos and you want to watch a sunset, we highly recommend coming to this beach. There's a few places we do love on the island to watch a sunset, but this is definitely one of the best places. After watching the sun go down, we got back in the car and went for a drive along to the next beach, which is Mandraki Elias. This is a beach I think we've only ever been to once before for a drink. We've never really spent any time there. We did visit it once, but it was way too windy to stay, so we just left straight away. So it was nice to have an explore of it, and again we had it all to ourselves. We love how natural and authentic the northern beaches are, especially this time of year when they haven't even popped any sunbeds or parasols out. I'll pop some music on now while the videos play out with the remainder of the sunset and then our little visit to Mandraki Elias, and I will catch you in a moment. a lovely drive back into town from the north of the island where the sun had set and the sky was looking beautiful. It was one of those nights where you almost didn't want it to end. It was just lovely. The roads were really quiet as well, and it honestly felt like we had the whole island to ourselves. When we got back to our accommodation, there was no worry about parking because there's private parking included with the villas. So we pulled our car up and went back into our apartment for our first night of sleep there. The outdoor area looked lovely, all lit up at night. And the bed was really comfy. We had a great night's sleep until unfortunately we were woken up very early by the pool cleaner. As you maybe have worked out, the pool is directly outside of the bedroom of the villa, and the person who was there to clean the pool on a morning thought it was completely fine to be shouting to somebody else in one of the other villas. So we were woken up very early, unfortunately. Weren't very happy about that, but we just dragged ourselves out of bed, went down to the Newport and went to Pasta Pazza for breakfast. Both got the English breakfast, and although it doesn't look that great, it actually was really nice, so we'd definitely go back there for one of those. All we really had planned for the rest of the day was to spend time in the villa. Obviously we'd paid for it and we had our own private pool and outdoor area to use, so we wanted to make the most of that. Unfortunately, it was a bit too cold to get into the pool. The water itself was freezing, but the sun was shining and it was really hot, so we were just going to do some sunbathing and have a nice relaxed day. Mark always likes to have a good look at the boats, look in the water and see if he can find some fish, and then he found some men doing some work just in front of where the Alcyon Hotel is. So he wanted to stop and have a good look at what they were doing. Since we've revisited the island since this happened, we worked out that they were just sort of flattening this area and sort of moving the rocks around to make it a little bit more safe, I think. But boys will be boys, and Mark wanted to watch the digger for a while, so we did that. And then we walked back along the road that heads towards the airport, and this was the way back to our villa. We also spotted the famous black swan having a little rest by the side of the water. And then as we set off walking, we saw some more work being done on the airport road in the plot next to Mandraki. I think you might have seen in one of our previous videos we saw little bits going on, but it looked like they were really getting on here. There's this like old building part which was getting demolished from what we could see, but they were building a new wall. Everything was being concreted. There was definitely something interesting happening. We didn't have a clue what they were doing, but this has since been reopened and it's now called Gardenia. They serve brunch, they serve coffee and they serve drinks, I believe, so it's somewhere we've added to our list of places we must visit when we go back to the island in August. Someone was doing some work on the bar Mandraki just here on the left. They were just painting the window frames and things like that. And other than that, it was pretty quiet up this end of the island that day. On a morning, obviously, none of these restaurants are open, but it's a lovely place to have a wander along and admire the views. If you're visiting Skiathos and looking for somewhere to eat on an evening, there's some gorgeous tavernas along this strip of little restaurants. This is our favourite though. This is called Addicts. I think I've said that right, but this is one of the best places we eat on the island. We've been there countless times, never had a bad meal, so we highly recommend that. Just look out for the blue dolphin and you can't go wrong. A side path off this main road led to where our villas were. This is the road I mentioned earlier in the video that was alongside our villas, and that's looking into where our villas are, so you can see that they're not completely private from people passing by. So I wouldn't recommend any topless sunbathing or anything like that if you stay in here. I also got the shock of my life when I was getting changed in the bedroom, which is the end window on the left here where you can see. The gardener for the villas decided to cut through our outdoor area and walk right past the window while I was getting changed. We really weren't happy about that. We probably should have said something and complained, but he didn't see anything, but it really did give me a shock. So from then on we were quite paranoid. And it was a shame it did spoil the stay for us a little bit, because as you can see from the videos I've shown you, these villas are absolutely stunning. Like, everything's really high end, the decor's beautiful, the pool's amazing. I just wish it had been hotter so that we could have got in and fully enjoyed it. And the owner who greeted us and showed us into the villas was lovely too. We were kind of glad we didn't pay full price for this because it is expensive, and we did have those few little niggles with it, but otherwise a really, really nice place to stay on Skiathos. I spent the majority of this day just lying out on those beanbag sunbeds, reading my book, snoozing and sitting on the edge of the pool with my feet in the water. And while I was doing this, something kind of life-changing happened. Well, maybe not life-changing, but something I will never forget. We experienced an earthquake. At first we thought it was a plane landing or something like that because there was a really loud rumble, but I was sat on the edge of the pool with my feet in the water and Mark was lying on the sofa inside and everything started to shake. It was so bizarre. Neither of us had ever experienced an earthquake before and we didn't know that they could happen in Skiathos, but believe me, they can. It reached 4.8 I think it was on the Richter scale and we actually felt 4 that day. It was really freaky. And when we went out later in the day to have some drinks on the port, we spoke to some of our friends on the island as well. They'd never experienced them before and they assured us it was definitely an earthquake. It was quite scary. But now that we've experienced one, I suppose it's quite cool to say that we lived through one. Obviously, it wasn't a life-threatening earthquake, but it was definitely something we weren't expecting that day. We weren't feeling overly hungry for tea, so we just headed to Time Out. I got a gyro and Matt got a burger. We always love the food from here. It's really good. We'd just been picking at all that stuff we'd bought in the supermarket the previous day in the villa that day, so we weren't really that hungry, but these definitely hit the spot. It was great as always. After this, we went to Admiral Benbow and watched the football and had a couple more drinks. And then I was really flagging after being woken up so early by the pool cleaner, so we decided to just nip to Dolce and get a crepe. I got just a milk chocolate one. I love this place. They make them fresh for you while you wait and there's so many choices of toppings. I feel like I really let myself down by just getting a plain chocolate one, so I'll get a much more adventurous one next time and let you all see it. But you can get sweet or savoury pancakes and they're really, really nice from here. You can find it just in the alleyway behind Papadimanti Street where No Name is and where Maria Pizza is, that sort of area. And I ate mine while we wandered back to the villa to go back to bed and hopefully not be woken up early the next morning, but you'll have to watch our next video to see what happened. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more of our adventures in Skiathos.